What does it mean to graduate from a Catholic Norbertine liberal arts college? This is a question that is probably on many of our minds today as we prepare to do just that. As I reflected on this same question, something came to mind that I learned about in a couple of my philosophy classes here. It's an idea that started with Aristotle called teleology, and it involves explaining things by their ultimate purpose. For example, the telos, or purpose, of a shipbuilder, which is apparently a much more common trade in ancient Greece than it is today, is to build ships. And therefore, a good shipbuilder is one who has the necessary skills and knowledge to build ships well. This way of looking at the world has been very informative to me, and so I'm going to use it to look deeper into the phrase Catholic Norbertine Liberal Arts College. What is the purpose, or telos, of a liberal arts college education? Well, in addition to the mission of any college, providing graduating students with the necessary understanding and ability to succeed in their chosen career, a liberal arts institution has the purpose of teaching an entirely separate skill set. See, on top of being talented in a specific trade or art, Aristotle thought that in order to achieve true flourishing and happiness, we need to be good at one specific thing: humaning. And at St. Norbert College, through well-rounded instruction rooted in the pursuit of truth and goodness, we have begun to acquire not just a deep knowledge of Excel formulas, precise skill with a chemistry apparatus, or the solid foundations of a teaching philosophy, but also those skills which will help us to be better at being human, namely the virtues. There are many different sets of virtues depending on who you ask, but I would like to focus today on those that are most pertinent to the word Norbertine. There are 4 charisms, or virtues, embedded in the very life of the Norbertines, and by extension, our lives. Stabilitas loci, or stability of location, can be difficult to imagine when one cannot take a vow of obedience to a religious order and abbey. But I believe I have witnessed it here throughout my time, largely thanks to my roommates. We have lived together in different forms and different places, neighbors in Bergstrom, suitemates in Michael's, then housemates on 4th Street and Marsh Street. But we have retained our commitment to maintaining and caring for our common spaces, commitment to serving the broader community through the residential service program, and commitment to one another, in spite of location or proximity or lack thereof. Actio and contemplatio go hand in hand, and one without the other cannot last long. I have seen this in work of every kind during college. I have learned, sometimes the hard way, that it is not sustainable to be constantly in action, studying for exams, leading student organizations, and maintaining effort in jobs, classes, and social settings. Sometimes we must take time for contemplation, reflection, and prayer in order to remind ourselves why we do what we do. If this is done, everything else becomes so much easier. This idea has deep biblical roots. Genesis tells us that God rested on the 7th day after creating the world. Christ tells us that he is the good shepherd who lets us lie down in green pastures. And one of my personal favorites, Elijah, worn out from his mission and journey and ready to give up, takes a nap and eats some warm food and is given the strength to carry on in action. You have undoubtedly heard the last charism on many occasions. Communio, the overflowing of the love of the Trinity into our human relationships, is often seen as the core tenet of this campus. And accordingly, I have seen it present in all of you. Whether it's receiving an extension from a professor when I'm struggling to keep up, being a part of a group project where everyone chips in and does their part, or yes, the simple act of having the door held for me by a stranger, it is obvious that the members of this college hold a deep and abiding love for one another. I have witnessed communio in particular in the growing Catholic and campus ministry communities here. It has been a life-changing experience to be a part of a group of people who have so centered their lives around God and expressed this through love of one another and common prayer. The warm embrace of the Sensenbrenner Chapel filled with vibrant music and contagious joy at night mass, the continuous laughter that echoes off the walls of the campus ministry building thanks to Encounter or Forsati or Chiara, and the sacred, solemn silence of Old St. Joe's during Monday night adoration, in all of these places, in all of these people, I have witnessed Christ's love. And especially at the Eucharistic table, where we have all gathered today and throughout our time here, where we share in true communion, breaking bread together and receiving Him, body, blood, soul, and divinity. That is communio. That is the guiding virtue of St. Norbert College. This brings us to the first and last word, Catholic. Now, the central liturgy of Catholicism is the Mass, a word which comes from the Latin words that used to be said at the end of every one, ite missa est, or go, you are sent forth. I think that is one of the most important influences the Church has on a Catholic campus. When we leave S&C, just as when we leave Mass, we are sent forth. Whether we are going to grad school or an elementary school, a national bank or a local hospital, we have been instructed to go with purpose and mission, intentionally bringing the skills and virtues we have learned into whatever community calls to us. When I look back on myself of 4 years ago, a timid freshman panicking in this very gym because I had to find a random person to talk to during orientation, it is clear how much my time here has helped me to grow, not just in confidence or public speaking ability, but as a human and one who is on mission. My hope is that I, along with all of us graduating today, will be able to go out and live this school's motto, teaching by word and example. That we will be sent forth, bearing truth and goodness in our hearts and minds, holding on to the virtues of commitment, work, rest, and communio, and ultimately showing the world just how good of humans we can be. Thank you.